Probably thought he was tough shit a little bit coming in and trying to kill me. So I'm glad that I was able to put his face in the ground a little bit and rub my ass on it.
Poorly Optimized.
Welcome everybody to Poorly Optimized podcast number 2. A little bit delayed from our first one, but in this episode we're going to be talking about our games of the year in a couple of different categories. Of course, you have the game of the year. Then we'll be talking about action adventure, RPG, best multiplayer game, best shooter, best sports game, which I think only Bolts and I have a lot of experience with. And then, of course, we'll be talking about best indie game, in no particular order. So I think we're going to start off best action adventure. And also, I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that everyone who's here, Rabbit, Bullets, Jeff, and of course I'm Valkier. All right, I guess let's just jump right into it. Let's go best action adventure game. Now we're gonna go in reverse order here. So Rabbit, go for it.
You know, I gotta say, thinking about everything, I'm gonna say Resident Evil 6 was probably one of my favorites. Playing it.
You did this. You did this knowing it would say something.
Yes, I did.
We can edit his out later.
You know, going through everything with a lot of the adventure games that came out this year. Resident Evil 6 generally isn't known to be an action adventure game, but with Resident Evil 5 and 4, they've kind of moved away from the survival RPG aspect to more of an action adventure sort of gameplay.
It's like a movie.
Because of that, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like an interactive movie almost. I'm not going to go along the lines of what Resident Evil 13 was, or Final Fantasy 13
Let's not get ahead of stuff.
Final Fantasy 13 was. But at the same time, it was pretty involved. I found myself, playing the game for like 2 or 3 hours at a time and being like, where'd the time go? I mean, I got to play, Chris's storyline, and it was pretty fun. I mean, there was this one part with a big giant guy that you had to kill like 50 million times. But
any spoilers, please?
Well,
big guy.
If you haven't played it by now, you're living under a rock.
Spoilers. Or it's just so bad that I don't feel like spending my money on it. Okay.
Whoa.
Then why spoil it? Then why care?
Well, yeah, why spoil it for
be
anyone who
saving
may
people.
still want to play? Or who might be getting it for Christmas, for God's sakes.
You haven't seen The Dark Knight Rises either.
We might be getting a little off topic.
You're cute.
Bullets.
But anyway, it was one of my favorites. I liked some of the changes in it. The inventory was a little bit different for me. The fact that I can quick use medical items, I found very useful. And all around, it was just a really interesting game. Some other people may have a different opinion, but for me, it's my top. My top action adventure.
Well, I can't argue with that. Fair enough. You liked it. Guess we'll continue on. I don't think Jeff had one for action adventure. He apparently wasn't, feeling very adventurous this year, and that's okay because we're not,
No
it's
gold
okay.
coins for you.
Well, you want
to.
So I guess we'll jump over to me. So for action adventure, we want to do this in another podcast, talk about how genres kind of fail because so many games fall into so many different genres, so it's tough for me. But for me, I mean, by default, it's Dishonored. I thought that game, it bordered on great. It wasn't great. It was really, really good. I thought it was the most innovative game this year. The fact that, there it is. But why does it action adventure, man? You could be stealthy the entire time. But it was, I love the ability to, have your own personal play style. I think more than any game this year, that was Dishonored. So it was kind of like a bunch of mini sandboxes with all the different worlds. Awesome attention to detail. Love the steampunk. Love the art. Love the political story. Again, I treated the game like an action-adventure game. I mean, I killed and I killed. I tried to be good for about one level, and then all it was one person to see me and to silence him, and I knew that I would be killing all through that game.
It kind of reminded me of Thief.
It does, yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, I just liked all gadgets. Like, it was just cool. The concept was spot on, and it was new IP, which, you know, there wasn't a ton of this year. Some indie games, sure, but a lot of sequels this year. So yeah, for me, definitely Dishonored. Bullets, what do you think?
Well, because no one else will, I'm gonna go into the gray area over here, and I'm gonna say Zombie U.
Whoa!
Whoa, exactly. You said inventive.
Only
Come
community
on,
member with a Wii U, so it's fitting.
This is an amazing game. I was actually a little nervous when I realized that every time you go into your inventory, you're actually still in the game. You're not paused. You're not immune to being hit, and I think that's something that is actually quite an interesting feature to it.
Yeah, it's neat, isn't it? Right, you're constantly like
because you want to pick
immersed.
something up, you're gonna have to clear out the area around you. You can't just like loot and run like you can in some other games and RPGs and stuff that you may play. So it's more realistic that way, and it's a lot of fun. You could also go around and hack security cameras and things like that, so you get a better idea of the area surrounding you. You had this scanner, which would allow you to scan around the area and see if there's any items or anything around for your use to scavenge. I thought it was really well done, and I haven't beaten it yet, but I am loving it, and I want to play more.
Hey, no, I'm happy that a Wii U
and that
game
is more inventive than Dishonored, in my opinion. The
well,
mechanics.
I can't disagree with you, but having not played it and not having not gotten a chance to use that Wii U controller, I could not say.
It is a lot of fun though.
It looks like Nintendo's really trying to make it like its selling point.
Oh, for sure.
They're doing a lot of changes.
Nintendo's always about innovation, right? And then, you know, that's what they do.
The 3DS, the Wii, the Wii U, all the stuff here.
By the way, is that why you gave me a wow when I said Dishonored was the most innovative game of the year?
Yeah, exactly, because
well,
I mean,
listen.
The dual
it's like the
path
blind leading the mind. Okay, I can only do so much.
I know. Okay. I don't blame you for rushing out and buying it like I did.
Well, it's okay. There's nothing wrong.
I guess next year I'll have to look up more action-adventure games.
It's okay. Don't worry. All right, so I guess we covered action-adventure. A couple of different games that I didn't actually expect us to have. So I guess we'll move to shooter. Let's start with you, Rabbit. What's your best shooter of the year? And by the way, this is first shooter. Interject.
I'm gonna have to go with Counter-Strike Go. When I got it working on my computer, it was pretty decent. I liked how they redid the engine on it. Things were, it still has a Counter-Strike feel to it. My main problem is if they're going to release a game, I have an AMD FX 4100. That was the biggest problem trying to get that. Well, no, it was trying to get that game. It was trying to get that game to actually work with that particular processor set, because anybody who has that the FX series of the AMD chips probably had a problem with it actually running at all. But once you did the workaround with it, which took probably about maybe 2 weeks for me to do, it came out pretty good. I wound up enjoying the game a lot, and I have a friend of mine who's actually starting up a clan that I'm going to be joining for that.
Well, yeah, I guess in a way, nobody knew this, but this is Rabbit's resignation, too.
What a great thing in the middle of a podcast of people that you hang out with frequently.
God damn. No, I know. Listen, I can't condone global offensive. Just can't do it. I did like it more than worse, but it's what's sort of decent.
It's a decent game, and I don't know. Did they even really change the engine? I don't know if they did.
It's still Source. I mean,
is it this? It's the same engine, though, right? It's not a different engine than the Source engine, is it?
They tweaked it a little.
But that like throwing doo-doo on something doesn't make it like a new thing entirely.
Yeah.
Doo-doo sandwich. I present to you doo-doo sandwich.
Tut.
Chef, how about you? What would you say is your best shooter of the year?
Well, I was gonna say Go, but I think I'm gonna go with Borderlands 2.
Okay. I would count that as a shooter. Most people probably would have a harder time with it. But yeah, that's a shooter for sure.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, like the playthrough of it. All the interesting guns that they have. The story.
It's colorful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got that comic feel.
That's a great game.
I do like the kind of effect that it has. That's kind of neat, actually.
And it's very innovative.
You had something nice to say about it? Damn.
That's all I got.
And it's very innovative with like all its weapons, how they're like different, their looks and their styles.
I would say that that's the biggest improvement from 1 to 2 for me, with how unique the guns were, and that I like.
Yeah, like there's there's a grenade that like you throw and like it starts shooting bullets everywhere. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah, some cool effects for sure.
I hate Claptrap.
Crazy.
I really do.
Please.
Don't hate.
This is a guy
funny
that plays in a
but after a while,
and doesn't like
drives me nuts.
Crap. Yeah.
He drives me nuts after a while. I just can't handle him. I must be
whoa.
Me.
Just save your ammunition, Tex. It's my turn.
He's got some mad beatbox skills, okay?
Pow, pow, pow.
I guess for a shooter for me, there were a couple of options here. I even thought about Global Offensive, but then I thought, you know what? By the way, this is a bit of an asterisk because it would be almost certainly have been Far Cry 3 if I was able to play it, but I haven't gotten a chance to buy it yet. So, bit of an asterisk. But for me, it's PlanSide 2, hands down. That game is ridiculous in an epic scale. I know you could, technically we could put it in the multiplayer category too, but flying in that is great. Like all the physics, the attention to detail still keeps that PlanSide 1 feel. Bullets, I know you love that.
It's phenomenal. I mean, I'm a little sad, but also at the same time, I think that they shouldn't. But it makes me feel bad that the console players can't experience what it's like to be on the
shed a
side.
tear for the console players.
Just a little.
By the
Although
way,
I kind of feel like
it sounded like you were reading from a cue card. Like you thought it was a great game too, right, Bullets? I too thought it was phenomenal.
You just made me fart.
Turn to the left.
You guys are allowed to. You can chime in. This is conversation.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But shooters should be on computers anyways.
Well, person shooters though work with a controller. In fact, I think they work better with a controller.
A lot better.
Yeah, but that's me.
I feel like
first person. I need a mouse and keyboard. I must have a mouse and keyboard.
I kind of feel like, I mean, I guess maybe this is just me from a PC perspective, but I feel like if you had a first-person shooter on the console, I feel still like the analog sticks are a bit restrictive for me.
Yeah, I agree.
But
well, hold on, we're gonna get off topic. Bullets. What is your best shooter?
I was with Max Payne 3. Only because I felt like this needed to be mentioned somewhere, and it definitely is a shooter. It almost kind of went arcade style a little bit, didn't it?
It did. I mean, I love, again, the attention to detail in that game was great too. The only reason why I don't have it as my best shooter is because it wasn't as dark as Max Payne 1 and 2.
It's still fairly dark,
but
not nearly as dark as it was. And I have to.
That's just my opinion, yeah.
But then again, let's say, in order for Max Payne to be Max Payne, it has to be a little bit more than just dark. But now I'm thinking back a little bit, probably not. But I like the game, and there's still a lot of good quotes that come from this game, and I like Max Payne as a character a lot. Has a lot of funny things to say, where he is a very good button
poetry.
Exactly.
What's that again?
I have heard a lot of good things about that game.
Pastas is like, why don't you push that button, Max? He goes, oh, now I'm just button pusher, right? He goes, yeah, you're so good at it. Oh, good stuff.
The Chronicles failed quotes.
Oh, well. Oh, God. Oh, shit. Shit.
Good segue, Bullet. So I guess we'll move on to the best multiplayer game of the year. So I guess we'll start with Rabbit, as always, because I always start with Rabbit in my mind.
We're going multiplayer now?
We are going multiplayer.
Alright, I gotta go Diablo 3 hands down.
You and I are like polar opposites.
Did you say Diablo 3?
Why do you always do the hand down thing?
Because I like Diablo 3.
Oh, God.
No, the hands down thing, not that.
Alright, well, I'm segueing to that, but okay. I don't know, it's just fun.
You say it a lot. Just noticed. That's all.
But Diablo 3 for me, for me the best part about that game. There's a lot of downsides to it, but the storyline for me was very interesting. It was engaging. I love the artwork for it. The artwork was really good. They put a lot of attention into that with the details and everything. To me, it was just an all. It was an all.
Rabbit, you're allowed to come back at him. Don't go for it.
I know, but I'm purposely him.
I feel like you're just trolling everything that we've ever.
I know.
No, he's just very new. We are.
No,
he's a fair statement.
I got a position for that game, but you'll see later.
Oh, whoa!
Doesn't get serious, bitch.
Something tells me it doesn't belong in the best indie game. God. All these crickets. Look, all of you.
But yeah.
It wasn't funny. I can't laugh.
It was, to me, it was a good game. I like, regardless of what other people said, to me,
all right, you stop looking
the
at
auction
me
house.
Say that.
Oh, I'm looking at you. But the auction house to me was a little bit was iffy about it because, I mean, I know it's Blizzard's way of basically saying, people are going to sell stuff online, sell items and stuff, so why don't we get a cut? But it was a fun game. I enjoyed it. I can't wait for the expansion.
Oh my God, there's going to be an expansion?
Totally.
Of course, this is Blizzard we're talking about.
Yeah, it's a true statement.
There's going to be like 5 expansions.
Jeff, how about you? What's your best multiplayer game?
Well, I'm going to pick Guild Wars 2.
Okay.
Of course, here I'm known for mostly playing MMOs like WoW. So,
This stands to reason an MMO would be your best multiplayer game.
Yeah. And playing Guild Wars, it's
like crack cocaine. Just say it, Jeff.
It's like a lot better. Like all the MMOs before it, it's like they put it all together.
Oh my
That's
God,
true. Yeah,
bombing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think they learned a lot.
They took like
from
all the
everything.
they took all the good things and put them together.
Jeff, you know why you like the game. Just say what you liked about it, man.
No,
It's a lot.
Just trying to find the right words.
than...
Like when you're in love, you can't. You're tripping over your words. Jeff's
You
in
have to
love
wait till the right
too.
to tell the game that you love it too.
Yeah, he's actually whispering.
You don't do that too early. Like walk away.
Both he's whispering in your ear, trying to get you to talk to Guild Wars 2 for him. Like that's how it is right now.
Like, hey, so the Guild Wars 2 saying
you like that guy? He was playing and you.
He wants to know. He wants to know if he knows him.
Yeah, right. Does he? Does GW2 notice me? Stuff like that.
Did he say that he wanted me back?
Like how it's not so fetch the quests and go across the world and do the quest and come back. How the quests pop up in a certain area, and the story actually makes sense still.
I have to say one thing I did like about Guild Wars 2 was the fact that you can have a little cockstick and you can run around and, you can beat down a giant elder god with like 50 other people who have cocktail sticks.
I like how that is took away.
What cocktail sticks have you been playing with?
Oh, you know.
Stop talking about your dick. This is not the time or place.
Another thing I love about it is the fact that other people can't ninja your shit.
Yeah, they've taken away
That's...
all competition, really. Like,
yeah.
you can't. You have very little reason to curse someone out on your own server, and it is refreshing.
I think I'm seeing that with a lot of other games now, where they're making loot just like specific to the player.
Because people like you can't be trusted.
And not only loot too, also
exactly.
like mobs also. Like I always hate when you're about to go kill something and then someone pops out of nowhere and attacks it first.
Yeah. Oh God, it was all competition. Same thing with even mining, right? Also,
yeah,
mining,
the
crafting. Yeah. So is that all you have to say about Guild Wars?
Yeah.
Well, for me, I was going to go with Guild Wars as well, which means you pretty much echoed everything I had to say about it, which is they really did learn from all of the MMOs prior. They've implemented a lot of those kinds of concepts into it. I mean, I don't really have all that much to add, with the exception of it's been fun. I like the ability to build your character how you really want to build him, right? There's no holy trinity, quote unquote, right? I mean, there still kind of is. Like, you can't get away from it 100%, but it's definitely a little bit more fluid than other MMOs.
Yeah,
that's why I like the idea of building like a tanky thief, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and like where you have to res people instead of
have
the healer do all the work, and
it's more team focused that way.
Yeah, and you don't have just lazy DPS just doing damage. Everyone has to like work together.
Let's not hate on the DPS.
Well, I've always been the DPS, but...
Oh, so you were the lazy DPS, I guess.
Yes, I was the lazy DPS. Now I gotta actually work.
You work hard for your,
Is it my turn now?
Yeah, it's your turn. Shit.
Okay, good. Well, I have a guest right now, so...
Are we bringing him in now? Bringing him in right now?
Special guest, do you want to say something?
Hey guys, how's it going? The Axe Man, live in the studio.
Oh.
With Bully B.
I feel like I'm being cheated on.
Podcast, crazy.
All right, he's out.
Was that a pre-written message? How the hell did you get him?
He said that he wanted to play our Madden game. But anyway, so I told him that he should be a part of it for a minute, so he can have his little bit of fame. And
that's all we can give him. Not a second more.
My MMO multiplayer friend of the games, is Guild Wars 2 as well.
Train wreck.
Somebody help him out.
Fine.
Oh, jeez.
See, this is why I had to be different.
88 men that shoots through the skull.
Okay.
So appropriate now.
It's an 88 Magnum. It shoots through schools. We've lost bullets. We're having technical difficulties.
As it happened, the guy who shot 27 people today. I shouldn't be asking.
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
Oh, God.
Do you have anything more to add about Guild Wars, or have we pretty much covered it?
You covered a bit. I guess I'm just going to point out what I really particularly like about it is, for one, if you just want to go in and PvP, you can just walk right in and you can just jump into the structured PvP right away. It's a lot of fun. You can make a lot of interesting combos and character, like, if you build your team for the tournaments and everything. It's a lot of fun. I think it's something that we're going to do for a while. Just as well, I like how certain weapons in the game are basically decide what you'll be doing as far as your skills related. So if you have a shield, obviously you're going to be tanky. You're going to have.
That's true. I forgot about the weapons. Yeah.
You're going to have tanky kind of skills that go along with that, instead of just the set skills that you always have no matter what weapons you're carrying. And I always thought that was one of the better things about the game. As well as swords usually have more damage. Hammers and maces are usually tanky or support items. So I thought that part was very well done, and I like the way they did that.
Right on. So then I will move to sports games, which our community doesn't have a lot of expertise with. It's mostly myself, Bullets, and Axe because we play a lot of Madden and NBA, all that good stuff.
And Axe is not here.
So Axe is not here. We have him as a guest. Bullets, can you get him back on the line? We'll have to.
I cannot. We are actually getting ready to play our.
Are you double fisting? Are you both
I am about to.
And...
Yes.
Wow.
I told him to send me an invite. He said that he had to go do some laundry or something, and he would invite me when he got on.
Axe's laundry. Talk about good podcast material. I'll tell you what.
He'll vouch for the game that I'm going to plug. So.
Well, yes, for me it was pretty easy. So Madden I buy every year. Now I'm not a Madden fanboy by any stretch. I do love football, but this year it's actually worth the $60. The physics engine is ridiculous. I mean, the way people bounce off each other due to weight, height, all those kinds of things. You know, it's really a complete game. Especially now they added the fantasy draft back to the franchise mode, because that was gone for a while and it really did concern me. I mean, I didn't buy it for a whole month until I knew it was coming back. So Madden for sure. I know FIFA's out there. NBA 2K13 is a solid game. NHL 13, but it's for me, there's no doubt about it. It's Madden 13. How about you, Bullets?
Well, I do literally have NHL 13 sitting in my bed. I have not yet put it in. So
would you dare put in
surrounding
a game that you haven't actually made as your best sports game?
No. I wouldn't do that to you.
Oh, I was getting.
But I would say that I think that would take the cake if I had the chance to play it, and I picked it up literally yesterday.
Okay.
I like hockey games. I think it'll be one of my all-time favorite sports games. But for the purpose of this, I'm still going to go with Madden 13 as well. I love football. I love sports in general. I'm not too big on baseball, but when I'm playing baseball, it's a lot more fun than when I'm watching.
Well.
So I don't know players quite as well as say Valkier here might know. But I pretty much play for home run derbies.
Okay, but in the effort of full disclosure here, can you please tell the audience what the score was in our game last night in Madden?
I think it was fuck you, if I remember correctly.
Interesting, because I believe it was 27-24 and I won, as the Eagles led by Cam Newton. Ouch.
I will say this, you know,
what do you say?
When it comes to sports games, one reason why I don't have a lot of experience or knowledge in them is because my philosophy on them is that I'd rather play them than sit inside and play the games.
The real question is, do you actually play them then?
No,
I do.
No, he doesn't.
You
he
do?
doesn't
I
have
enjoy
time.
baseball.
He's too busy of a guy to have time to do that.
You know, I'd also rather kill dragons than play kill dragons, but I can't always do that. So I play games.
But when you do, you drink the Sekis.
All right, so no.
So listen,
we're going back to Madden real quick. I did have something extra to say. Thanks for your wonderful interjection there, Rabbit. But I'll take it back over from here.
We'll go back to Bullet in the newsroom.
What I actually did really enjoy is the fact that if you really wanted to just be a coach and not play the game, I actually find that to be quite interesting. And I'm realizing through the online franchise and everything, that it's quite a job to actually have to manage your team. I'm sure a lot of people don't know how difficult it is, as I really don't either, but just going through this and realizing that you have to negotiate, contracts and stuff like that, I've had a few people basically walk away and say, "You're not giving me enough," and I'm like, well, oops.
And then, as Harrison Ford once said, we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Exactly. And actually, to your point about the physics, I know, especially in our game last night, you were picking your plays quite a bit. But I had a pretty interesting time because I on defense, I pretty much what I'll do is I'll go with game flow completely, and I will either pick what I think I need to audible for a coverage play, a blitz play, and etc. So I actually had quite a fun time watching as the play is over. People bouncing off on top of each other.
Oh yeah,
I
Greg
think I
Olson got
told you
launched
once.
like 30 yards one time, I think.
There was there was one instance where I told you where I think you made a small little pass over on the flat, and one of my guys tackled you, and I know I specifically told you this. Whenever your guy got up, he had the ball in his hand, and he looked like he almost put the ball around the guy's head and kind of gave him a hug while he was sitting on the ground. And it was the most
Good tackle, bro. Good
hilarious thing I've ever seen.
Good tackle.
The most hilarious thing ever. I've actually seen other players get up and basically walk into the head of other people while they're still on the ground and watching their head bounce around.
I can do one better. I've seen, like, as they do a bunch of pile-ups for a tackle, I swear to God, the defender looks like he's in the missionary position on top of the offensive player.
I do like
And,
they basically trickle down on the other side of the dog pile sometimes too.
You know what? And it's true to life.
It's very fun to watch. Actually,
it's a fun game.
It's amusing just to watch that alone.
Yeah,
so,
it's a good game.
It's great. Love it.
First time I've been happy spending $60 on Madden in probably since 2004, so like 8 years or so.
And it has nothing to do with how OP Cam Newton is either, does it?
He was my number 1 overall pick. He runs the option. Get at me. All right, so we'll move to indie games. So Rabbit, you had an indie game, right? You're okay?
Yeah, Fez. Fez is actually a very interesting game.
I don't know if I've heard about this.
For those of you guys
that from a 70 show here, or what are we doing?
For those of you guys that haven't seen this game,
all right, Beg.
It's basically about a 2D character who realizes that there is more to his world than just a regular 2D based two-dimensional area. And it was very interesting the way the game is created. To traverse through an area, you actually have to turn the world to move from one area to another. So, like, you have one area that is flat. When you get to the edge, to continue, you have to shift your perspective to a different side, and then continue on there and move back and forth. The one really cool thing I really liked about this game is, if anybody's into watching documentaries, there's a documentary called Indie Game on Netflix. I totally recommend watching it. It's about like indie game developers and trying to get their startups off the ground.
I actually know about that.
And they one of the main games that was featured in the documentary was Fez, and that actually made me want to play the game. All around, to me, it's like one of my favorite indie games of this year.
Right on. I mean, there's a lot of good places to find some indie games. Even Steam Greenlight more recently has been good too. So yeah, that's awesome. Well, Jeff, not only did he hate being adventurous this year, he was pissing all over the independent developer,
giving them a nice gold hour.
Anyway, for me, it's pretty easy this year. There's a lot of indie games that I have to play. Like, Mine Wars, I want to play Forge, a lot of cool games, but I think Mark of the Ninja, I haven't actually gotten to play it, but I really want to.
Makes me so sad. I actually still own that game and have not played it. I've owned it for a couple of months.
I know. I saw when you bought it, and I really am. I'm interested to play it. It kind of combines platforming with stealth action and real cool art. So yeah, definitely Mark of the Ninja for me. W bolts.
Sorry. So,
double fisting.
Now, no. Well, I was talking to Axe. He thought the EA server was down. Okay. So my indie game is actually something I found in the Nintendo eShop on my Wii U. I know that sounds very odd, probably to a lot of people, because, well, it's a weird place to go to look to find an indie game. I'm pretty sure it's an indie game because I didn't see any big developer names on it, and I'm pretty sure it's a third-party kind of developer who isn't all that big. It wasn't even the original, like, $60 or $50 game or whatever. So, but it's it's kind of, the game is it's called Nano Assault, and what it is you're basically, I guess, like, on a single-celled organism, like killing off infections and stuff like that, and you go around and you have upgrades. It's kind of like a spaceship sort of thing, but you're on like, I guess, a microbe or something like that, and you're going around and killing infections and trying to not die and clear the infection of, the area and everything like that. And once you do, you can continue on to a new world, I guess, or a new area or new microbe, whichever. But it's a lot of fun. It's kind of really arcade style. You can shoot 3 or 4 different directions if you have the right upgrades. There's leaderboards. There's multiplayer. It's really pretty fun. I found it to be really kind of an amusing game. You can play on the gamepad. You can. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about, bro.
I know.
Don't do this to me.
Keep going.
So I was looking around, just poking around what they have, because you never know what Nintendo's going to throw in their eShop now and again. So I like to look around, be aware of what's going on, and it was a lot of fun. And I can't believe I've stumbled upon such a fun game, and it was like not even a week after release, I think, and I found it. I didn't actually buy it till like a week and a half after that still, though, I think. But I looked at the reviews and everything, and everyone really liked it, so I picked it up.
That's cool. Right on. So can we look forward to a review on my site with bullets telling us about this game? Yes, we'll just have to stay tuned and find out.
I just checked my office, and I have a stack of things I have to review, so it might definitely be there.
You're your own secretary, too. That's awesome.
Well, she's off today.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, there's a big stack of things I have to do. It might be in there. I have to check.
Okay. Right on. Well, that's cool. I did not. I learned about a couple of indie games here. Okay, so then I move on to RPG. So Valkyrie's getting a little upset here, to be honest. Well, technical difficulties. Rabbit, what's your best RPG of the year?
This I actually have to say it's console. Hyperdimension Neptunia. What it is, it's a pretty good RPG. It takes place in a world that is where you have basically the 4 big consoles. You have, 3. You have the PS3. You have Xbox.
And you have
the Wii. And they're all personified as like these 3 goddesses. I believe there's one more, but I forget who it is. And they're all warring with each other to have control over the world below. And it's actually it's a pretty good game. Seeing as how what they're going for is kind of like the whole video game, the console war between all the major video game developers or video game console makers. It was really engaging. I really liked it. If anybody who's into like JRPGs and stuff like that, I didn't know about it until I stopped into GameStop one day, but I actually have to say I was pretty impressed with it, and I recommend it to anybody.
And what is the name again?
Hyperdimension Neptunia.
Wow, that was
that is definitely a JRPG. I'll tell you what, that name. I'll have to check it out. I do like.
I'm sorry. It's Hyperdimension Neptunia MK2.
Okay. Either way, a JRPG name.
I thought for a second that Rabbit was gonna pick Diablo 3 again.
Well, he loved that much. You can't blame him. You just can't.
The game itself had a mature rating, but it's pretty good.
Well, yeah, that's always a good thing. Or can be. All right, Jeff, how about you? What's your best RPG of the year?
Okay, I'm gonna go with Borderlands 2. I know I gave it shooter also, but this game is really good. The first one I liked a lot, but this one like really improves all the things that were missing in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Like it actually.
Go ahead.
Like actually introduce the stuff that the first one they threw you into a lot of stuff, but they actually teach you a lot of stuff like the elements and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an RPG. I know most people don't classify it there, but I mean, it has a really good story, immerses you in your character. You're building your characters.
Yeah, getting different weapons.
Yeah, it's no different than
Leveling
Diablo 3,
up.
except better story
I
and it's first
disagree.
person. Well, go for it then.
And the story is a lot better than the first one too.
The story
Oh, yeah.
is disappointing.
Asterisk, Bolts has played the game for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Story is Claptrap. Shut your mouth.
Fucking a Soren shut up too.
Shut up, bullets.
Oh!
That was the greatest impression of Claptrap I'm vomiting.
Yeah, man, Borderlands. So for as far as my favorite one, I almost went Borderlands here as well. Until Bullets reminded me the Dark PC got released in this year, so I technically bought Dark Souls for the PS3, but then I rebought it computer. So I think that qualifies me as being able to say that it was the best. It could be my favorite RPG of the year because I absolutely love that. It is the hardest game I've ever played. It's extremely rewarding in every way. I love the atmosphere, like how all these different kinds of worlds are connected. It's just so good. All the weapon variety, and so like your play style changes depending on how you build your character, but like more so than in any other game. Like it's radically different when you switch. So it's Dark Souls by far. And Bolts, how about you?
Well, I mean, pretty much nailed everything. I mean, I don't even know if I have anything to say at this point. I mean,
you could give us an answer.
Well, I also picked Dark Souls.
Okay.
So, with that,
I knew that, but no one else knew that.
Yeah, you're right. No, I just assumed they knew that. I mean, it was one of the better ones. No, yeah. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I kind of actually like how hard it is because of the fact that you said it's very rewarding once you get further in the game and you figure things out. It was so freaking hard, but it's a lot of fun to play through and beat. And we tried some of the co-op thing, but that never really worked out too well.
Well,
yet,
you know, it's partly my router.
So we'll work on that. And I did have a few crazy people invade, which was quite scary. One of them was pretty ridiculous. The other one I actually ended up beating and killing, which I actually thought was kind of funny because he probably thought he was tough shit a little bit coming in and trying to kill me. So I'm glad that I was able to put his face in the ground a little bit and rub my ass on it.
Oh, well, there you got that. I mean, in terms of rewarding, though, you're like, it can't be overstated enough. I had man yells beating bosses, and I wanted to throw my controller through my TV. I never did, but the man yells were there. So I guess.
Those manuals.
Well, you've heard. Oh, listen, we'll have to do a podcast where it's just us playing games and play League of Legends if you really want to hear me yell.
Manual hour.
That's one long ass podcast.
Well, you know, just one play.
Unless I'm playing.
Yeah, well, 20 minutes and we surrender. That's right. Thanks for the pity laughs. Much appreciated.
That was legit. I was talking about.
Got it. It felt that way. All right. Before we get too off topic, so I guess we'll quickly move on because now we just have one more main category. That's game of the year. So we'll talk about our most disappointing game first. Rabbit, what was your most disappointing game?
You know, because I live in New Jersey, we had that hurricane that happened, and because of that, I was
How are you
without
gonna tie
power.
this in? I can wait.
I was without power for 4 days, and during that time, I decided to pick up a 3DS, and I picked up a couple of different games to bide my
Am I
time.
gonna fucking you?
Whoa, bullets.
I have to say, one of the disappointing games of the year for me was Code of the Princess. Playing through it, it was supposed to be, you know, kind of like that 2D scroller fighting game that's has RPG elements, and it seemed good. The packaging looked nice, and you know the little synopsis of what the game was about.
What are you?
So the
years
cover
old?
Looked good, huh?
Well, the synopsis.
You buy games during still?
Well, hey, I had no power. What was I gonna do? I was bored. So I sat there and I picked it up, and I can say I possibly got about 20 minutes into the game, and I was like, yeah, this was a waste of money.
Well, 20 minutes that's pretty disappointing.
Because
Do you
to me,
know who made the game?
you know,
Okay.
Well, we'll figure.
No, I'm pretty sure who made Dark Souls actually.
Huh? Well, they have interesting games, so it goes both ways.
well, really, I mean, it was very JRPG-ish. I mean, it looked good. The artwork looked good, and some of the screenshots, it seemed pretty good. But getting into playing it, it just didn't appeal to me. It might appeal to other people. I mean, that's great, but just to me, it was kind of really disappointing.
What was the major flaw, if you don't mind me asking?
Gameplay. It was just gameplay, and just trying to immerse myself into it. It was very bland. The 3D aspects of it, they kind of went a little overboard on the 3D. Which another thing was like
I'm still confused. What does the gameplay mean? Does it mean the story, the mechanics or controls, or what exactly did you?
Gameplay's not story.
Story. Gameplay is more or less. I would say the overall game aspects. The storyline was like lackluster. The actual mechanics of the game, moving around and stuff. I found a few exploits in it that I could jump around and kill things way too easily, and it just to me just wasn't very appealing.
I know what you mean. Like the mechanic, the nuts and bolts had some problems, like in terms of just movement. But then even the gameplay, like the core mechanic, what like drives the game, wasn't all that appealing to you. That's fair.
I mean, there's other people, they might love the game. I'm not gonna say, don't go out and play it. I mean, hey.
I think this did. Did you hear him? Shit.
I'm just saying, for me, it was probably the most disappointing game of the year.
Okay. How about you, Jeff?
In Diablo 3.
Damn.
No, I know it's Rabbit's one of his favorite games, but...
Well, don't worry, I'm about to do the same to him after you're done.
When I bought it, I was all hyped for it. I was playing it constantly. And... after a little while, I was like... oh, I'm tired of this freaking story. And, like... what's the difference from the playthrough before, except you add, like, one extra feature for the monsters?
Yeah, no, I agree. It just made it more difficult, and that was pretty much the only difference between playthroughs.
Well, I mean, you look at it this way, though. I mean, you boil it down to it, Diablo 2 was almost the exact same thing.
Better story, I would argue, but yes, I agree. The gameplay was the same. I think it was more challenging to build your character. Like instead of simply getting your loadouts to use and like, hey, choose what you want, it was like you kind of actually had to build your character. So I didn't like that they lost that. Jeff, you had something else to say. Did you?
Not really. It's just
disappointment.
It was very disappointing.
You're just dejected right now. You're in love with Guild Wars 2. Right now, You're just about Diablo 3.
Starting to get away from Blizzard.
Fair enough. For me, and go figure that so far two out of our first three most disappointing games are on Rabbit's best game list. Resident Evil 6 for me was the most. By the way, there were a lot of choices. You go Mass Effect 3, that was an option. You go Diablo 3, certainly an option. Resident Evil 6, though, by far. 2-hour-long boss fight. That's all I gotta say.
I can agree with you. That was taxing.
Lack of creativity. I was sweating. I've never sweated so profusely playing a game and wanting it done. I did not like. And again, so the other elements, like it was presented really well. The other elements were okay. I also didn't.
You didn't like the storyline?
Listen, you know what? I wasn't going to spoil anything, but I have to. Leon Kennedy looks at a zombie and says, "Back away." This man saw raccoons get nuked. This man, through the Las Plagas infection, he does not, in his mind, I don't think in his mind, having to ask a zombie to stay back, it should It just shouldn't cross his mind. It just should be there. I just gotta say that.
That's the only thing?
No, it's not the only thing, but we don't have an infinite amount of time here. I'm just pointing out the one thing that kind of really paints the picture. It really just kind of encapsulates it. So there was that.
I enjoyed the storyline.
Well, there you go. And that's okay.
And some of us have taste, some of us have good taste.
Yeah, that's true. We're all different people. But remember, the question was, the category was most disappointing game. And when you carry with your game a name like Resident Evil, games like Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Code Veronica, 4, games that are all-time great, especially 2 and 4.
Or Diablo.
When you put,
what about
Diablo?
Zero?
That's a pedigree. What are you doing? Are you trying to get me off my topic? That's what you're trying to do. I know you're a disinfo agent, is what you are. But when you carry with that name, I expect a lot. I bought the game. I gave them $60 on the name alone, basically. And I think I was a little disappointed. That's all. I was a lot of disappointed.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Bolts, how about you? Most disappointing game.
Mass Effect 3.
Is that right? I can see that.
It was. I mean, I'm not gonna say. Well, I'm gonna say this. So never mind. Ignore that. If you were a gamer at all, if you were a gamer at all, you might already know why I would say this. For those who don't know, well, let me just tell you.
You're gonna know.
You went through the whole thing thinking that every decision you made had an effect at the end.
Hence the name.
This is
Mass Effect.
This is not the case. Not the case. It was 3 decisions that you had to pick at the end, no matter what you did, no matter if you went around being a complete villain or a complete hero or anywhere in between. And it was a fun game up until the point where you got to the end and you realized that it didn't really matter at all, which is completely unlike the other 2 games. And I don't know what made them think that this would be a good idea. I mean, even you can unlock alternate things in the other 2, and I don't understand why that wasn't somewhat appealing to keep in the game. For those who go certain paths, can have different options when they get to the end. It just made more sense to me. They tried to very quickly go back and reverse that disaster they did, and I don't think it recovered anywhere close to the other 2 games.
Maybe that was the point. They're just saying no matter what you do.
Maybe you should go play Resident Evil 6.
In Diablo.
At least I have choices.
This cat's got fangs.
I hope you enjoy your fights. Or your boss fight.
2 hours
All 3
long.
hours.
Lack of creativity.
And loving every minute.
You would. So we did have to trim down some of our categories a bit. Unfortunately, not we're humans here. We can't afford to buy every game, play every game. So some of us aren't as well versed in every genre. But I think we definitely kind of captured a big piece of gaming for this year. So I can move on to the final category, which is very simply, the game of the year. What was your favorite game of the year? Rabbit, what would you say?
I believe Secret World came out this year, and I have to say,
oh my god,
I really enjoyed that game. That was, to me, that's my game of the year.
Okay.
I like the fact that it's very well put together. It is, if I remember correctly, an EA game, which I've stated before.
Fact check you.
Which I've stated before.
Incorrect. Or it is Funcom.
Isn't Funcom owning them?
I don't believe.
All right. Well, I do enjoy the Secret World very much. The one thing I do like about it is there's voice actors for almost everything. Whenever you have a quest to go to and you have to talk to people, you can actually talk to them, and instead of just reading a bunch of text, they'll actually speak, which I found was really nice. When you're doing missions, when you go up to the person to go get your mission, you actually have a little cutscene where people talk and interact and stuff like that. And throughout the game, you also have other cutscenes as well.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, no, I'm playing.
You just love voice, don't you?
I do. I think it's really awesome. I think it's really awesome.
Are you secretly interested in one of the voice actors? Is that what this is?
Totally, all of them. But
just for this of accuracy, it's published by EA, but Funcom is the developer and is not owned by EA. But it does have some ties to EA. But go ahead.
Yeah, I remember talking in a previous conversation, not on a podcast or anything, about me boycotting EA. But anyway, that's getting off.
I remember.
The one thing I do love about it is there's no leveling system, no traditional leveling system where you're like, I'm level 80, I'm level 40. You basically collect AP and SP, which you can use to level up different skills, level up your proficiency in different types of weapons, like guns, melee weapons, magic, and from there, I mean, that's basically how you progress and get better items and are able to buy better items in that game. To me, it was just I found it really enjoyable. I mean, the fact that like your first time into this game, you're going basically into an island that's infested with like zombies. I thought that was pretty cool. That got me into the game. I will say there is one downside to the game. They give you a browser option because there are some things that in order to complete the quest, you kind of do have to look online, figure out how to get through certain puzzles or something like that. And they even tell you, game, the browser's here so you can look at it.
You must have never played a Hong Kong game in your life.
I can say I probably haven't.
It's okay.
I can confirm you have, based on the fact that you did the browser situation, because all of them have had browser things in their games.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, Age Again? And what was the one before that? I forget what it was called. It was really popular.
Well, let him finish first. Hold on.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, you.
Well, I mean, other than that, I really found myself getting into the game, and I really liked it. The three different factions. I mean, you got the Templars, you got the Illuminati, and then you got like a Chaos faction, which is called the Dragon. To me, it was just really cool. I mean, I also like looking into like the Illuminati and life and like the Templars and stuff like that. So it was just really cool seeing this actually incorporated into a video game.
Right on. No, I actually wanted to give it a try. I haven't yet, but I have heard very good things.
It's actually play now. They're not doing the monthly charge anymore.
Oh, well then.
Really?
There you have it.
Yeah, I got an email about you maybe this week or last week. I forget which one.
I got it something.
Doing that, like Star Wars is doing that too.
Everyone's free to play to go, unless you need a massive. There's too many MMOs, but we're getting. I digress. Jeff, what would your favorite? What's your game of the year?
Well, this is not surprising, but Guild Wars, and I know we've pretty much covered everything about it, but it's just like, I've been playing WoW for so long, for like 5 years or something like that, and having Guild Wars, it innovated MMOs for me.
You know what it was? It was like you were in a bad relationship all those years, and you finally got out and started dating like a regular girl, and you're like, oh, good.
And it doesn't really feel as demanding as WoW or something like that.
I agree.
Especially with the suspicion of WoW, like I'm going in school now, and with Guild Wars having like a free to play, I don't have to feel stressed out. I can hop on any time. I don't have to worry if I'm paying a subscription. I should be playing it. Like WoW.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? That's actually a really good point. When you're paying for something, you feel like you ought to be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ought to be getting your money's worth for sure.
Yeah, I never thought about that. All right. Well, I guess we'll go to me. So, my favorite game of the year. We didn't have a strategy category because I think a few of us really didn't play many strategy games this year. But for me, my game of the year was strategy game, so they would have been the same. XCOM, Enemy Unknown, the new XCOM. Fantastic. Took a really old concept, a game that came out in 1994. They gave it a new coat of paint, like 2012 paint, and still were able to keep, the same core elements. They got it, it was a little simplified, sure. So when you're doing research, there's a little less guessing. They go, hey, here's your research. But fighting aliens has been so fun. I like the ability to actually level your characters up. They kept track of all those kinds of different things. I love the game. It has an awesome multiplayer aspect. The actual core gameplay outside of the geoscope, actually going in and doing the little battles, was great. That cover system, it was a great way to kind of redesign the old system, but not make it so hardcore that people couldn't get involved. And like I said, the multiplayer aspect with that new system, awesome. So yeah, I know it's not popular to choose a PC game as your of the year, but I think it's certainly in this case. I think Dishonored was it was probably a distant second, but it was probably my second game. How about you, Bolts?
Well, I'm getting ready to be your mind hole here. I'm
Whoa!
going to go with Dishonored as my game of the year.
Whoa!
Reason being is inventive.
Yeah, it was. No, I could see that.
Like you said before, it had a lot of different scenarios that you could go through, and you could do them all completely differently. You could do them however you wanted. You mix and match all different kinds of skills and weapons to effectively do your create
havoc.
Well, that and just to create a new way to maybe do that mission you've never really thought about doing it in a certain way based on certain skills that you have. And it basically, you could go through it and there's 4 or 5 different ways to complete your mission. If you're doing a murder, you could basically go in and just make it look like an accident, or you could make it go in and just straight up kill him. There's a lot of different ways to do it, and I thought it was really well done. And props to that developer. I forget who it was actually.
It was Arcane.
I've
They're
never
owned by
heard of
Bethesda, but
Oh well.
There's a lot of Bethesda in it, but yeah, still Arcane.
And it was a really great game, and I enjoyed it, and I still haven't beaten it. I need to get on it and beat it now. So
that's what you're off to do now.
I'm gonna finish this Madden, actually.
Well, everyone, that was Poorly Optimized podcast number 2. Still working out the kinks, moving forward, ever working. Tune in time. Bullets gets naked. So be there. 5 out of 3. I'm
already naked actually, so I don't know.
So no spoilers. No. But seriously, episode 3, we're doing the. Well, it's actually a choice. It's either going to be the failure of genres as a proper game classification. We're talking about video games became movies or movies that became video games. Perhaps